How's everyone doing? Today I have a horror Blu-ray collection update with 9 pickups, and if you've seen any of them, definitely let me know what you think of them, and let me know which one of these is your favorite. Leave me those comments down below. First up is Umma. Now, I like the concept with, the Korean culture and stuff like that, and Umma stands for mother in Korean, but it really just falls apart and falls flat, and they pretty much abandoned the horror theme by the end for cathartic drama, and it just really doesn't work well. It was messy. There was like glimpses of intrigue, and really, again, the best part for me was some of the culture aspects, but as far as a horror film, it was below average and disappointing. It was a short runtime too. Let me see on here. It's always so difficult to find the runtime on these friggin' things. That's why I like Twilight Time. They had everything boxed off and easy to find, all the technical aspects. 83 minutes, but it felt like at least double that. It was a battle of attrition to sit through this one, and a lot of the, hard tropes were here. There's a shadowy figure in the back, a jump scare, things like that. And I think that's another thing that really just didn't work well. You're trying to build up this atmosphere, and it pretty much falls flat on every level. And it's basically about Sandra Oh, who's been around for a long time. I feel like she's Killing Eve. I know she's popular for it, but Arliss. I always remember her for Arliss. But it's her and her daughter living on this like farmhouse, and she can't have any electricity going. They, because she has a reaction to electricity, you find out why, and it's revealed like right away. But she was abused by her mother, and her mother passes away, and her uncle comes and gives her the urn and stuff like that, and she's suddenly getting all of these different visions and stuff, and kind of hallucinating, and they're pretty much separated from like the rest of society. Occasionally the daughter will go into town, and they have Dermot Mulroney right there who kind of helps them. So they're isolated, and no electricity, no cell phones, anything like that. So that also plays into the factor of it. But the daughter wants to leave. She wants to create her own life, and that also has conflict there, creates some controversy. But again, the culture aspect was cool, but pretty much everything else doesn't work for it, and it was super disappointing, and it felt like more of a drama with a couple little scenes of horror thrown in, and it just doesn't work. And let me know what your favorite Korean horror movie is. This isn't a Korean movie, it's US based, but it talks about the Korean culture. For me, my top 2, The Wailing, and then Bedeviled, which I've talked about Bedeviled a bunch. I've talked about Wailing as well. Those are like 2 of my favorite movies ever now. So those would be not only my favorite Korean movies, but it would be in like my top 20 all-time favorites. So definitely check those 2 out, but let me know your favorite Korean horror movie. Next up is Saturn 3. This is the Scream Factory release. I wanted to like this one more than it did. It's a killer robot movie, sci-fi horror. I've got Kirk Douglas and Farrah Fawcett, and then Harvey Keitel in here. They're pretty much the main people that you see. And Kirk Douglas and Farrah Fawcett have this kind of like utopian, little isolated area that they're like a scientific station that they're working on to help create food for Earth, and they're in Saturn's 3rd moon, so it's just them 2. And then all of a sudden Harvey Keitel shows up and just disrupts everything, and there's conflict, and then there's a robot killing people, and they have to fight to survive. It was interesting to see the interactions and stuff like that. Harvey Keitel is just super crazy and over the top and intense. And I believe his voice was dubbed in here, which I thought was super weird. I don't know. I guess he maybe had some kind of conflict with the director, and I don't know why that was. Stanley Donen, why they decided to go that route with dubbing his voice, but it was distracting and bizarre. There are the Blu-ray and DVD discs, and then there's the interior artwork. It's decent, but it's not great. At times, it definitely leaves you wanting more. Some good performances here, and I like killer robot movies, but it could have been better than it was. And at times, the pacing was a bit inconsistent. Some special features right there. And Umma had no special features. This is a Sony release. But yeah, Farrah Fawcett's still looking good. And at this period right here, 1980. And let me know your favorite robot horror movie. There's a few out there. Chopping Mall counts too. I love the heck out of that one. Grew up watching that as a kid. And to me, again, Scream Factory is one of the best companies out there releasing Blu-rays. Again, all the special features on there. Just a ton of great information if you're a fan of the film. Newly commissioned artwork, reversible artwork, disc artwork, the films they choose, the transfers, all that good stuff. So I definitely appreciate them, even though I have complained in the past with all the double dipping and stuff like that. I wanted to like it more than I did, but it's decent. It's, if you're into sci-fi, horror, killer robots, it's worth at least a one-time watch. But I definitely wanted way more from it than what happened there. Next up is the Boogeyman, although the ending was kind of satisfying in aspects. But the Boogeyman right here is an 88 Films Slasher Classics Collection release from the UK. It is region free. I like the red case. And then if you get all the ones in the collection right there, you can line them up. The Slasher Classics Collection, this is number 10, and it's from 1980. I like how they have the year like that on the spine. This is an interesting mirror horror movie. There's a few out there. Oculus is definitely the best one by far. I want to see, I know there's going to be, like, there's supposed to be a prequel for that one, but I've heard that for years now. But I'd definitely love to see that happen, and a sequel too. They can do so much with that. But this is an original UK video nasty, Uli Lamel's. Creepy classic, it says. There's some good scenes in here. I like the concept, but this one, again, I feel like it could have been better than it was. It's a like serial killer trapped inside of a mirror, and he escapes the mirror, and he's killing people, and they have to fight to survive and figure out how to stop him. And you've got Scream Queen Susanna Love in here, and it was apparently a critical and commercial smash hit in 1980. And, you know, you've got John Carradine in here, too, with a cameo appearance. And, you know, there's a family aspect going on. And there's a couple really cool scenes in here. It's a good movie, but not great. Again, I like the mirror aspect. You don't see a lot of mirror horror movies, so I dig that. And I like the case a lot, too. Just that shot right there is really cool. But there's a couple different Boogeyman movies, and it's not the other ones. I feel like this is definitely the best of the movies with the title Boogeyman. And here is, you get a booklet in here too, which is nice. And there's that shot right there with the priest. And I think that's a cool shot too. Catches your eye right away. The blood all over there. But I think that shot's just so cool, like haunting to me. Has a surreal feel to it. But yeah, really a nice release, and a bunch of special features in here. Again, I really like what 88 Films is doing. I just wish more of the releases were region free, but I know there's, you know, copyright issues which are different in different countries and regions and stuff like that. Next up is Tobe Hooper's The Funhouse, and I do want to get the 4K release for this one. I love the heck out of this movie. Definitely the best, like, you know, carnival horror movie out there. There's been a bunch of ones recently that came out, but this is definitely the best of the bunch. Let me know your favorite Tobe Hooper movie is. For me, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre is probably like 5th on the list. Life Force would be number 1, Texas Chainsaw Massacre number 2, Funhouse number 3. If you want to put like Poltergeist in there, although, you know, Steven Spielberg really did most of that. But yeah, I feel like he's done a bunch of things that I've really enjoyed. And Texas Chainsaw, the original, to me, it's not my favorite in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. It's probably like, you know, 4th favorite of mine. I really like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, Texas Chainsaw Massacre the beginning, the remake, even, you know, 3, Saw's Family. I like that one. But so I don't know, I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of criticism for it. But the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you know, it was, at the time, it blew everybody away, and it created this awesome franchise and these characters, Leatherface, and Hitchhiker's also a great character too. It also has like one of the whiniest characters in a horror movie too. But yeah, so I'm thankful that it created, there's not a lot of blood. I feel like, you know, it was gritty, it was raw, it was dirty, but it definitely created a great franchise. And I don't think for me, it doesn't hold up quite as well as some of the others in the franchise. And I know I'm in the minority in thinking that. I like the remake better than the original. I like the beginning better. I like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 better, even 3. But that's just me. I think I'm like the only one. But there you go. Let me know if I'm not, though. And again, let me know your favorite Tobe Hooper movie. But this is a really good one, and I love the look to the one character. And basically, there's this disfigured killer out there. It's a great slasher film. You know, and there's people trying to escape these kids that are staying there at the carnival and this fun house. And you know, they're trying to not get killed, and they're being stalked, and it's just, I love the look, and it's just awesome, and a phenomenal film, and a great release too. And then you get that artwork, which I remember that on the old DVD forever ago. I think that it might have been an old Arrow Video like UK release too, but I'm looking forward to the 4K release of that one. So the Funhouse, and some awesome special features in here. I definitely appreciate when releases have special features, especially for movies that I really enjoy. Even for movies that I hate, sometimes I'm curious and I'll check out the special features and I'll end up liking the special features more than the movie itself. Sometimes there's some great special features in there, but this one has some really good ones too. I appreciate the commentaries. So that's one thing I really like, especially from, Tobe Hooper in here, and moderated by Tim Sullivan. And let me know if there's any other good, carnival horror movies out there that you could recommend. Hellworld is one that I thought got a lot of love, but I didn't necessarily love that one. I felt like the kills were uninspired. I like the ending a lot. That was cool and creative, but a lot of the rest of it just kind of falls flat for me. Haunt is more of like an extreme haunt movie, but I love that movie. And next up is The Beast Within. This one reminds me so much of an X-Files episode. It's basically, there's this 18-year-old kid, and for this movie, it's all about the transformation scene at the end for me. It's a lot of buildup, a lot of buildup. But this 18-year-old kid, he finds out his mother and a swamp beast created him essentially, and he's being drawn to this area in the middle of nowhere in these woods, and there's this evil in his blood, and he's trying to uncover his past and his father. And, there's Ronnie Cox is in here too. Paul Clemens, Elkie Jones, BB Besh, a few other recognizable people in here. And there's some good special features. But for me, it's a lot of build up, and then it's all about that transformation scene. And I love the heck out of that. And again, it reminds me so much of that X-Files episode. And this is like a classic horror tale, that build up. And there you go. And then I remember that cover too. And I dig Scream Factory for all their reversible covers, newly commissioned artwork, the transfer special features, the films that they choose. I'm glad they're still going. I used to call them Double Dip Factory, Re-Release Factory. That's still kind of the case, but I appreciate it. I know a lot of people are complaining about, movies getting a Blu-ray release, then a 4K release like a year or two later, and I understand that, but it's also just part of the way that it is for years. It's been like that. How many different editions of Evil Dead 2 and Evil Dead and Halloween have there been? But I think for the 4K market, they're kind of like testing out a little bit, and they're seeing how the initial release does. And if there's a good, turnout for it and they're selling a bunch, they'll have the money to do the 4K, because it costs money to do this ultimately, and it's a business. So they know what they're doing, and they know that horror fans kind of drive the market as well. So The Beast Within, really good kind of creature feature in a way. And some good special features in here for The Beast Within. And, I was talking about the X-Files. Let me know what your favorite X-Files episode is. And next up is The Funhouse Massacre, another carnival horror movie with Robert Englund in here, Courtney Gaines, Clint Howard, a few other recognizable people in this one. And this was recommended to me by my friend Movie Chatter. Unfortunately, this is not one that I enjoyed. I found it to be a bit disappointing. There's all these different serial killers that escape a mental institution, and they're in the carnival and killing people and stuff like that. People have to fight to survive. Very formulaic, and I just didn't really care for the characters. I thought some of them were just too cartoonish and characters and over the top. And I don't know, it felt really low budget and amateurish at times. I just wasn't really into this one. So unfortunately, I think I'm going to get rid of this out of my collection. And usually Movie Chatter and we have a lot of similar tastes in movies. So this is one of the rare occasions and exceptions where I didn't enjoy a movie that she recommended. So I'm sorry for that, but 99% of the time we're on the same page. This is just not one of them. But yeah, I'm probably going to purge this one from the collection. I'm definitely going to purge this one from the collection. Unfortunately, this one did not work for me. Another Scream Factory release. The past 3 were Scream Factory releases, and Saturn 3 was also a Scream Factory release. So a bunch of Scream Factory releases in this one. How many times can I say that? And if you are a fan of the movie, you will like this release. Some good special features in there. Next up is a Severin release, Wild Beasts. And this is just a wild movie. There's a bunch of animals in a zoo, and PCP gets into their water, and they break out and they start attacking people and going crazy. I think there's a scene where there's a polar bear in here, and they get into a school. So these, drug crazed beasts, it says in the back, tigers, lions, cheetahs, hyenas, elephants, as well as seeing eye dogs, sewer rats go berserk and rampage through the streets of Rome. So yeah, it's pretty amazing and wild and crazy. It's a mix of actual animal attacks supervised by circus trainers, and then over-the-top 80s Italian gore. It says it remains one of the greatest eco-revenge shockers in Eurocult history. It's not great. It's not great at all, but it has some entertaining, wild scenes and moments in here, crazy animal attacks. So I think that's really, it's kind of a novelty, intrigue kind of movie in that regard. Italian horror, and from 1983. The runtime of 92 minutes speeds by, remastered for the first time from Franco E. Properi. So if you want to see a bunch of animals on PCP attacking people, this is the movie for you. But it's not great. It's messy, and a lot of the scenes just feel rough and not really edited that well. And the acting isn't great, but you're really only there for the animal attack scenes. So I feel like it could just be like a highlight reel, just cut out the rest and get to that. Essentially, the plot is secondary. And there are a bunch of special features in here, so I definitely appreciate that. I really like Saturn as a company. And let me know what your favorite animal attack movie is outside of Jaws. Next up is The Giant Claw and the Werewolf, Fred F. Sears double feature. I got this one and then I decided to pick up the recent Arrow Video Cold War Creatures Sam Katzman produced box set, which the limited edition one is what I got. There's two versions of that one. There's the one with the book, and that one's the limited edition one, which goes for more money. I feel like a lot of people aren't aware, for a lot of the Arrow Video releases, they'll release the limited edition box set with like a booklet, and then another regular box set without the booklet, and then sometimes they'll release the limited edition set, and then they'll release a standard, just regular Blu-ray, like this. And people don't understand that there's price differences. And I remember talking to somebody and with Major Dundee, which has a limited edition set. And it's funny because the standard Blu-ray isn't even on Blu-ray.com, just the regular limited edition set. But if you look on eBay, you have the standard Blu-ray on there, and that was going for like $25. With the limited edition one goes for like anywhere between like $60 to $75 on eBay. So they didn't understand that. I had to explain it to them. Then I just didn't hear from them after I sent them the links and broke it down to them. But yeah, so there's different versions. So I got this one, and now I think I'm going to get rid of it because I've got the other box set, which is a beautiful release. But these are fun ones, and I like, the Cold War era, creature features and stuff like that, especially from the, the 50s. And this giant claw is like a bird from outer space. They think, they see these UFO attacks, but you can see right there. And then you got the werewolf movie, and there's so many different werewolf movies. Let me know what your favorite werewolf movie that isn't an American Werewolf in London or Dog Soldiers. Let me know your next one in line. But there's some really good underrated ones. Howl is so freaking underrated. It's a British one that came out a few years ago. I love that one so much. The Wolf of Snow Hollow is actually a really interesting take on the genre, but I dig the heck out of that one too. These are cheesy, fun ones. And this is an Australian release. It's region free from Umbrella. I really like Umbrella. I like Imprint a lot too. Australia has some really good companies out there releasing Blu-rays. Let me know what your favorite Cold War era creature feature is. Last, not necessarily least, not my least favorite of the bunch, but a bit disappointing for me, Silent Hill Revelation. I like the first one a lot. I know a lot of people don't like the first one, but it's one of my favorite video game adapted movies, especially for horror. I do like Resident Evil as well, the old one back in the day and the second one, and then the recent one I thought was good too. And some of the CGI ones are actually better than the live action ones. There's so many movies in that franchise. But I enjoyed the first Silent Hill one. This one, I like the effects, the visual effects, the gore and stuff like that, but everything else was a bit messy and falls flat. It has a surreal feel to it. Nice to see Sean Bean again in here. And, just revisiting Silent Hill, going back the eve of her 18th birthday. And she has to go back there. And she gets trapped in this nightmarish landscape. The storyline is just felt derivative and doesn't really stand out from the first one so much. And it just felt like kind of like a cash grab. And the plot is secondary again here. Awesome creepy visuals and gore effects, but nothing else really stands out about this film. So it was a bit of a disappointment in that regard. I'd love to see another in this franchise, but done well. And here's the special features for Silent Hill. Just a look inside. But let me know what your favorite video game adapted movie is and your favorite video game adapted horror movie. So there you go. Those are the 9 pickups. Let me know if you've seen any of them and what you think of them. And let me know which one of these is your favorite. Leave me those comments down below. And I hope everybody's doing well. Take care.